Hello and welcome to Wake Up and Dream. I am here with Lisa and Kelly. And I actually was just sharing right before we hit the record button here about something that happened in the last week that I'm still kind of like shocked about, but pleasantly surprised and all the things. So a couple episodes ago, before I get into what actually happened, a couple episodes ago, Lisa was sharing about a few of her goals and how she was able to cross some of the goals off her list. If you recall, she has a few things right now on her bathroom mirror that she is working toward, one of which was selling her truck, getting a new car, and that whole story. Amazing story about just how she manifested the exact outcome that she needed and wanted. So go back and check out the episode from a couple of weeks ago, episode 70, I think it was, or 71. We can actually put that in the show notes so you guys can reference back. But during that episode, she also shared one of her goals that remains on her mirror. And now I have on my pin board right next to my desk. I am so happy and grateful that money comes to me from expected and unexpected ways. So I'm just going to jump right into my story of 2 months ago. I went to Italy with my husband. I know we did a series on all of the mindset work that was involved with that trip. During that trip, we ended up we wanted to take a train to Pompeii. I booked like a train that was like a more comfortable train, like a passenger train that tourists use. You don't have all the commuting traffic and it's not as packed. You have a seat. So we booked one of those trains. It was 25 euros a person to get to Pompeii, which is a pretty hefty price tag because the regular commuter train's like 3 euros. So it was just like, an upgraded train. We weren't taking a car. Let's go for it. When we got to the train station that day, the train was on strike. And that actually happens pretty often in Italy. I think every time I've traveled to Europe, some train or something is on strike at that. I have other stories I could share from like our last Italy visit about a train strike as well. But anyways, I wasn't really bothered by the fact that the train was on strike. I just was like, how do I go about getting a refund for this ticket? They're like, just email, no big deal. So we got a commuter pass. We were in a train, like packed like sardines in like really, really hot weather going to Pompeii. We got to Pompeii. We saw all the things. That was more for my husband. I was kind of bored, but again, that's for another story. And since then, I've been trying to email about these train tickets. So it was 50 euros that I needed to get a refund for. So anyways, I was emailing. I tried Facebook Messenger and calling, but everything's in Italian, and it's hard to try to facilitate something like this when you're in another country, let alone speaking a completely different language. I was using Google Translate to try to understand what these auto messages were. Like, it was a process. I kind of like let it sit for a little bit, like for about a month. And last week, I actually don't know the order of events here. I feel like I posted this goal card and then I had a note on my calendar saying follow up on train tickets that have just been rolling over. And like, I have this little desktop calendar, and I just keep rolling over things that I haven't yet done. So on it was like follow up on train tickets. And I was inspired last week to be like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere trying to reach out to this Italian company on these train tickets. Let me just see if PayPal can do anything. And on PayPal's, terms and conditions, it's like reach out to the vendor, reach out to the person that sold you the service and goods and service. So they were kind of punting you toward resolving it on your own, which I had already tried. So I sent PayPal a note about the whole entire thing, explaining that I was trying to work directly with them to get everything back. And it just hasn't been working. And then yesterday morning, I woke up to an email and PayPal refunded my 50 euros without any other questions. So I just was telling Lisa how I'm so thankful for her to actually make me put that on paper. The fact that like I'm so happy and grateful that money comes to me from expected and unexpected ways, because I have been reading that. I have been looking at that. And even though it seems so small, like it's just something that was there, that was lingering, that's been carried over on my calendar for the last 2 months, that now I was able to cross off the list. I have this money in my funds, and it just feels really, really good to have manifested that outcome for this like seemingly small thing. But like, I don't know.
It's not seemingly small, Sarah. Like, because of the power of that belief. Like you were you were saying your mantra over and over that you were so happy and grateful now. And I was just talking with a gal at LeBry's national convention, and it was actually after convention, and that evoking of emotion and that anticipation, I think that's what excites me about this whole idea of belief and faith. Is it's so playful, it's so childlike. It's like it's not this burden that, oh, I've got to make this happen, but it has this lightness to it. Like, I wonder how this is going to play out. I wonder how. And, you had taken one route and gotten a dead end, essentially, with all the language barriers, and as well as like they're not giving you your money, right? So they weren't doing what you expected. But yet, because you were still in that light attitude and heart space of belief that it was going to happen, I mean, then the idea to go back to PayPal came through. And, would that have happened if you hadn't put your faith into action? Absolutely not. Like, there's no way you were going to get that refund just because you were thinking that you were going to get that refund. You had to step out and take the action. And that's the exciting part. But I think that's the disconnect that so many people forget, that faith isn't just believing, like intellectually believing. It's actually putting your skin in the game and stepping out and believing by taking action as if it's already done.
So, Lisa, I love that you kind of pull that back to belief and faith. You're 100% right, too, that an amount like 50 euro could have been easy for me to overlook as well, because we spent a lot of money on this trip. Do I really need to fight? Do I really need to send a 12th email to this? But because I was like, it's money that is owed to me. I'm going to get it back. It was just an expectation, a belief, and I had faith. But as you're talking, I'm getting reminded of Think and Grow Rich. For those of you following us on YouTube, I was waving my book in the screen at Lisa as she's talking, because one of the things that I actually looked at right before our episode was this quote from this book. Your belief or faith is the element that determines the action of your subconscious mind. So that's exactly what you just said, just in, clearer terms, I think, in a clearer way, as you were just explaining it, Lisa, is really like I was taking action. It would not have happened if I didn't take that necessary action, but I wouldn't have taken that necessary action had I not had belief that like this money is owed to me and it will come. It might, I'm not sure when or by what means, if it's going to be them or PayPal or whoever. I literally reached out to them in 3-4 different ways, like every way that you could possibly reach out to a company, and it wasn't happening. But I was still like, I'm going to get it back. I just don't know exactly when. And that, I feel like you just summarized so nicely, Lisa.
Yes, I think that's so key, right? Is to not have that timeline, because your goal was receiving income and money in unexpected ways. And this truly, truly was. It didn't say by the end of July or, 5 weeks ago, or, like that is the faith of having, it was a vague goal in a way, but then it became more, detailed as to a situation that arose in your life. And like you said, you kind of gave it up for like a month and forgot about it. And so you had your reminder. And I think those reminders too are all intentional timing, and who knows, maybe you just reached the exact PayPal executive to help you in a way that they just knew this was the right thing to do. And I think just taking that pressure off to is a timeline. I think I was just kind of feeding off of both of you. With any goal, whatever it is, and then actually like having faith that it's already happened. So that's a thing too. Like, I want to make $3,000 a month in my business. It's not exciting. It's not like intentional, but I am so happy and grateful now that I think those are like some key words, Sarah. I'm so glad you shared
Feeling.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the feeling for our listeners to remember, because you reading that goal card on your, wall every single day and knowing that it's coming, and then doing the work
Yeah.
together. Yes, you're going to have to pick up the phone. Yes, you're going to have to make the email. Yes, you're going to have to apply for that new job. Yes, you are going to have to go to the gym. You are going to have to eat healthier. You're going to have to, whatever it is, doing the work. God doesn't just take 20 pounds off or give you a raise without you, working towards it. And it is having that faith, but just connecting with your goal every single day and being grateful and knowing it hasn't happened, but it will, because of the work you're doing. And what I think is so exciting too about what Lisa touched on is the excitement of, how is this going to play out? What is going to be my blessing that I receive? Because it is working towards something, but being open to the unexpected possibilities as well, because who knew PayPal was going to be like the saving grace here and the easy, ta-da, all done. And that's how I think life is too. Like, it's, even if you're having a hard time at your job, like, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? What's the next steps? Can you start applying somewhere else? Becoming educated and certified in some other way to make yourself valuable, but doing the work, but knowing that you're excited. I know we've had another episode about this too. What excites you? Being excited for what's next. And I think that when you turned your mindset even on your goal with getting your money back, Sarah, I think it was just like, oh, well, this is next. It just comes, those downloads come like, oh, I can reach out to PayPal. Let's see if this works. I think that's like so fun and exciting. I think just a good piece for our listeners to just sit on for a minute. Like, oh, how did Sarah do that? She
And I
did.
love that, like
Yeah,
Lisa said, the childlike excitement, like that. I feel like it's like,
exactly.
I'm so happy and
Yes.
grateful that money comes to me from expected and unexpected ways. And I'm like, ooh, where's money going to come to me next? Like,
That is so, it so encapsulates the feeling, because that is, I mean, and I really think that for those of our listeners that are faith-based, that just delights the heart of God when we take that childlike faith and we get excited and we anticipate how that answer is going to become reality. Like that has got to just be such a blessing, not only for God, but in essence, it's really what we're created to be that childlike believer that believes in the magic, right? Believes in, like, we as adult, we forget to use our imagination. We forget that, we can be light and playful in our own mind. Doesn't mean I have to learn how to do a cartwheel, mind you. But it does mean that I can create that cartwheel in my mind, right? I can create that playful, lighthearted expectation, anticipation, and believe, and then the downloads literally are off the charts. I mean, we have seen it time and time again. So I hope that you were encouraged, because we're sharing real life stories, right? Real life stories of us going from, well, I don't know if this is going to work, to, you know what? I'm just going to step into belief. I'm going to step in and I'm going to just believe that it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know the timeline of when it's going to happen, but I am believing, like that little child, that it's going to happen. And that's when real living and real excitement take place. So we always want to inspire you. We want to encourage you to do exactly that. wake up in the morning and start anticipating what magic you're going to create in your life. So until next time, wake up and dream.